The Bruno Files, as read by Mac with some cheese. A collection of the numerous controversies and issues surrounding Bruno slash he slash them, as well as the circumstances that led to him being pedestaled in the community. Note, this document is best viewed on a laptop or PC. Google Docs on mobile, for whatever reason, reduces the image quality heavily, meaning that it may be impossible to read text images. However, I have included image descriptions for those that do not have access to a laptop or PC. Trigger warning: grooming, sexual remarks, transphobia. Introduction. He slash them, also known as Bruno, previously known as Testicle, is a 33 turning 34-year-old who was a Sea of Thieves community bosun and a quote-unquote namer in the Sea of Thieves community. He self-identifies as a bear and queer. He calls himself a quote trans ally unquote, which there is little evidence for except for his numerous over-sexual comments made in the online space towards transgender people, which will be displayed in this document. Bruno's whole personality is to remain wholly positive without any ounce of negativity, even when negative topics or periods for the game come up with poorly received updates or terrible decisions by the game's team. This personality is entirely one-dimensional, and as you will see in this document, is a charade in order to get close to people in positions of power in the Sea of Thieves community, which he has successfully done so, allowing him to get away with things that a regular community member would have been outcast for long ago. Bruno was active on Twitter for a long period of time, however shifted to Blue Sky after a controversy brought him widespread ridicule. He has been surrounded with numerous controversies, and recently many allegations and new information has come to light, including that of grooming. When concerns about previous controversies have been brought up to community managers or Sea of Thieves support, they were ignored or not acted on at all. Note, as of 12 May 2026, Bruno has been stripped of his bosun title and banned from Sea of Thieves. As such, I have decided to put together this document in order to allow members of the community to stay up to date with the current situation, as well as having a single document in order to compile all of the that we know about them and the circumstances to which they became a bosun in the Sea of Thieves community. Please support any and all victims that were affected by he/them/testicle/Bruno. Your support means the world to them and will help them move on from the terrible things that have happened over the past 3 years. Context: Sea of Thieves, SOT, is a pirate game released in 2018 by Rare Limited, a subsidy of Xbox Game Studios. It is a very social-heavy game with a very large but niche community. It is available on a majority of platforms. Sea of Thieves bosuns are members of the Sea of Thieves community that are above that of a regular community member, supposedly representing the best of the game's community. In reality, this is mainly a promotional role given out to those that Rare believe would be a good fit to represent the game in official spaces. There are no proper qualifications needed to become a bosun except being quote-unquote helpful and quote-unquote friendly. Sea of Thieves bosuns and all members of the Sea of Thieves community are expected to uphold the code of conduct and pirate code in their social spaces. In-game players are also bound by Xbox community standards. As you will see outlined in this document, Bruno will have broken numerous of these rules, as well as Discord's terms of service. As you will see in the documentation, Bruno should not have and does not meet the, albeit murky, criteria to be a Sea of Thieves bosun, nor should remain in the Sea of Thieves community based on the numerous actions brought to light by his own actions, which have harmed the community as a whole, and has shown his true face to those that have been affected by his actions. All incidents will be in the best chronological order they can be, however some events may overlap or have occurred both pre and post Bruno becoming a bosun. Bruno's incidents. The following section will comprise the numerous incidents tied to Bruno. As you will see, outside of the first major pig incident, his only responses to this are to delete any messages or evidence on his part to make screenshots or images look fake. Thankfully, there is enough evidence that has been compiled to show that many of these incidents did happen. Footnotes have been added to link to each image or post with this purpose. If any footnotes are dead or missing after the full publication of this document, it is as a result of his poor damage control methods. Pre-Bosun incidents before April 2026. Even before becoming a Sea of Thieves bosun, Bruno had already managed to get himself into a lot of controversy with members of the community. Bruno plays with a cheater, December 2023. Although this occurred in December 2023, this controversy was largely unknown until it was brought up during the, quote, plays with cheaters, unquote, incident in early May 2026. When Sea of Thieves player Golm and his friend encountered Bruno on the Sea of Thieves, they encountered Bruno, who at the time used the gamer tag and username Testicle, and a player named Deadly DJ 420. When Golm encountered Testicle and Deadly DJ 420, they believed that Deadly DJ 420, Bruno's teammate, quick laddered onto their ship. Golm directly messaged Bruno, sending him the clip. It is mentioned here that, quote, after you, Bruno, scuttled, you said you didn't want proof, unquote. Golm sent the clip to Bruno anyway on Discord in case he wasn't aware that his friend was cheating. Bruno responded by calling Golm a, quote, fucking loser, unquote, and chalked it up to, quote, unquote, hit reg. Golm included a video. Golm, we fought you a few minutes ago, found your profile linked to your Xbox after you scuttled. You said you didn't want proof, but I sent anyways, in case you weren't aware your friend was cheating. Not gonna report, cause I honestly don't give a shit, just letting you know. Bruno, that's literally hit reg. You clearly care enough to find my Discord and send me this anyway, even though I told you not to. Since you did, here's some facts. He's Australian and had 360 ping. Now get over yourself, you fucking loser, and don't message me again. Here is a trimmed down version of the clip that Golm sent to Bruno, around 10 seconds. 10-second clip from Golm showcasing that possible cheat. Note, it was decided that this clip would be trimmed to properly showcase the proof of cheats rather than the whole clip that may make it unclear what part was supposed to be cheating. The full clip has already been shown in the Crud rant that initially discussed this topic in early May, if you wish to see it fully. Although this 10-second clip does not show Bruno clearly on the crew with Deadly DJ 420, attached are some images from the original 2-minute unlisted video showing Testicle, he/them, on their boat at the 48-second mark, alongside Deadly DJ 420. Blubfish TV11, you. Deadly DJ 420, the Gold Seeker, Testicle. When checking Deadly DJ 420's account status on the forums, it can be seen that they were banned 2 years ago in 2024. Considering that they are still banned even after the second chance policy was implemented, it is likely that they were permanently banned for cheating. Deadly DJ 420, banned, joined 2 years ago, last online 2 years ago. Shortly after this incident, Bruno changed their gamertag from Testicle to he/them. Pig incident, February 2025. This is one of the first high-profile and infamous incidents of Bruno, which has led to a lot of controversy and backlash up until even this day. Around the 24th or 25th of February 2025, Bruno played Sea of Thieves, a minor, 16, alongside his friend Murph. During this time, for whatever reason, they made a range of inappropriate jokes and named their pigs inappropriate names with the minor present. A photo of the 3 pigs with inappropriate names was posted to X, Twitter, which is now taken down. Bruno, #SOTFest 2025, your meat, my hole, to bust a nut. Image description, Bruno posted a screenshot of 3 pigs on Lone Cove, from the game Sea of Thieves, with the pet names Your Meat, My Hole, and To Bust a Nut. Inappropriate pet names in Sea of Thieves is an offense that is not taken lightly and has resulted in many people having pet naming permissions revoked for things less worse than this. Bruno did not have his pet naming permissions revoked by Sea of Thieves support as a result of this incident. As expected, making these sexual jokes with a minor, especially at Bruno's age, and posting it to Twitter led to a lot of backlash from the Sea of Thieves community, which led to the post being taken down almost immediately. As a result, he temporarily deactivated his Twitter account. Big incident responses. When this inappropriate post was called out by a friend of Artist of Thieves, he was direct messaged on Twitter by Bruno, who threatened him, saying the joke didn't need explaining. Bruno. The joke doesn't need explaining because it's not for you. However, harassing someone you don't follow, have never engaged with, couldn't have found the post or the account without being sent it is beyond obsessive and pathetic. This will be taken further if it continues, so consider this your only warning. Image description. A direct message with Bruno that states, quote, the joke doesn't need explaining because it's not for you. However, harassing someone you don't follow, have never engaged with, couldn't have found the post or the account without being sent it, is beyond obsessive and pathetic. This will be taken further if it continues, so consider this your only warning, unquote. Twitter and Blue Sky. Dammit Bell, Bruno's partner at the time, posted to Blue Sky showcasing their conversation with Bruno during the fallout of the incident, where they prompted Bruno to apologize for the incident. Dammit Bell, at dammitbell.bluesk. PSA for Sea of Thieves community. Sure, many of you are aware that I have been in a relationship with he/them/Bruno for some time now. I have separated from him due to his discussing/joking of sexual topics with a minor and his refusal to accept any wrongdoing. Hope this message clarifies my position. Dammit Bell. Hi Bruno. Sorry I went quiet on you. Needed to sleep and think and talk to some friends. No one who's going to quote-unquote expose you or whatever. Don't need to worry about that. I really need some answers here. Firstly, sailing with a 16-year-old when you're 32 regularly is already a bit bloody weird. A 16-year-old who is apparently comfortable with discussing/joking about sexual topics with you is downright concerning. Like, how are you even at that point? I hope I don't need to explain why that is weird. I know you're convinced you've done nothing wrong, and I know I originally said I thought you had done nothing wrong. Knee-jerk reaction to a partner coming to me worried. But you just simply have. Need you to understand and accept that. Did it seriously never enter your mind to put your foot down and say, quote, we really shouldn't be talking/joking about this stuff together, unquote? And your reaction has been to lock your account? You realize that just makes it look like you have something to hide, yeah? I know when you first came to me, I told you to pay the, quote, SOT shitters, unquote, no mind or attention. That's because I didn't know it was a freaking 16-year-old you had made this joke with, and I trusted you that it was just assholes making a fuss of nothing again. I had only seen the post on Blue Sky on which no one was tagged. I need you to admit that you have done something wrong, and you need to make a post apologizing. As it stands, you have been making sexual jokes with a minor and are locking down in response to that being pointed out, while insisting you have done nothing wrong. You have. Dammit Bell, at dammitbell.bluesk. I also want to be extremely clear that I have absolutely no interest in quote-unquote drama. I do not want anyone to go after Bruno on mine or anyone else's behalf. I do not even really care if anyone continues to associate with him. Feel free to go and listen to him and make up your own mind. Dammit Bell, at dammitbell.bluesk. I'm doing this for my own sanity and peace of mind, and to make it absolutely clear where I stand. I tried and tried and tried with him, but he just wasn't getting it. And I'm just going to have to ask you to take my word on that because I do not wish to share my sensitive PMs. Image description. Image 1 is an explanation from Belle about how she was in a relationship with Bruno for quite some time and had separated from him due to this incident. Page 1 and 2 of Dammit Bell's direct message to Bruno, where they ask for answers about why Bruno sailed regularly with a 16-year-old when Bruno is, in fact, 32, especially if the 16-year-old is comfortable enough to joke about sexual topics. Belle admits that she originally thought that he had done nothing wrong, but did not know at the time that it was a 16-year-old that Bruno had made the joke with, and that she had trusted Bruno that people were just making a fuss of things again. She asks that Bruno admits that he has done something wrong. The last image, Belle states that she has no interest in quote-unquote capital D drama, and did not want anyone to go after Bruno on her or anyone else's behalf. She says to make up, quote, your own mind, unquote. She also said, quote, I tried and tried with him, but he just wasn't getting it, unquote. Sometime after this, Bruno and Belle split apart and went their separate ways. It is believed that they were in a polyamorous relationship at the time, however, there is no current evidence to back up this claim. Bruno's response to Twitter was fairly minimal, with a 3-page Twitter response that was also posted to Blue Sky. I have since removed the picture that and take full responsibility for what's happened and deeply apologize to anyone I have upset. You may have questions or just remove yourself from knowing me, and that's fair, but I'd at least ask you to think rationally before feeding into a witch hunt. Thank you, Bruno. Image description. Page 1 of Bruno's explanation of the encounter, mentioning that he is a quote responsible adult unquote and quote has never sailed without another adult present in the company of the 16-year-old unquote. He admits that this was a quote unquote mistake and admits that he quote shouldn't have done this unquote. Page 2 of Bruno's explanation of the encounter says that quote certain camps of the community unquote twisted the narrative that he was quote highly inappropriate with the 16-year-old unquote, which he was, and quote using sexual language to groom them unquote. Page 3 states that he removed the picture and takes full responsibility for what happened. Note, although this may not be an instance of Bruno using sexual language to quote-unquote groom someone, there have been other instances which may call this apology into account. This is also the only time Bruno has apologized publicly as a result of an incident. The minor in question posted a response to the allegations explaining their side of the situation. Hey guys, I'm often never involved in drama, but seeing how I'm the minor in question during the current scenario, I just wanted to come on here and explain my side of the situation. The session was planned a few days prior so we could take some pictures for Bruno's Grab a Garb series. We then hopped on, with Murphy joining us, and started the session. About midway through, we started mucking about with pets for just a few minutes as a thought of a funny pet name the day before, then we quickly moved on and continued with the screenshots. Then, at the end of the session, we all still had the pets out, so we got a little screenshot of them all together and parted ways. At no point did I feel threatened at all. It was just a small, harmless, immature joke. After the post was released, certain parts of the community started having a go at Bruno for posting it and sailing with a minor. I don't think that being a minor should not allow me to play with people that I have an age gap with. Some of my closest friends I have an age gap with, but they treat me amazingly and don't treat me any differently, whilst also being respectful that I am a minor, and don't think that it should keep me out of places as long as they are accommodating to my age. In no way was Bruno trying to do anything to me, and at no point did I feel threatened or anything like that from him. It was only a few minutes spent messing around with in-game chat before swiftly moving forward. I would also like to state that I don't want to hate on anyone and that I understand why people had the reactions they did due to my age, but there were people who caused multiple arguments between fellow members on the community surrounding me, specifically in the situation, but at no point did any of them contact me to see if that's what was happening or if I was safe, which I was, but instead unnecessary made the situation more than it ever had to be without even asking if that's what it was. That's what makes me the most angry with the whole situation, that due to me being involved, the situation grew, driving many people out or away from the community without hearing from the person they are trying to speak for. But I know that some of you may still have issues with Bruno, but as the main person involved in this issue, he's done absolutely nothing to me, and I still view him as a friend. Image description. The minor wrote that the session was planned a few days prior, and Murph joined and they started the session. Midway through the session, they started mucking about with pets as they thought of a funny pet names and moved on and continued with the screenshots. The pig joke in question is called a, quote, harmless, immature joke, unquote. Image 2 states that after the image was posted, parts of the community had a go at Bruno for posting the inappropriate joke and sailing with a minor. The minor says that he is treated respectfully when he plays with people with an age gap between him and them. He says that it should not keep him out of places so long as they accommodate for his age gap. At no point did he feel threatened by Bruno. Image 3 states that the minor did not want to hate on anyone, but understood why people had the reaction they did to the joke considering his age. He said at no point did anyone contact him that were raising concerns to check to see if he was safe. At this point, he still viewed Bruno as a friend. Pig incident fallout. Sometime after this, Bruno posted very obvious snarky posts on X Twitter, after which he eventually stopped using X Twitter to post, fully moving to Blue Sky. Considering the context of these images, it is likely these came as a result of people discussing the pig incident further. Bruno, hashtag SOTFest 2025, feeling especially wholesome and loving today. Kissy face emoji. Bruno, hashtag SOTFest 2025, forever wholesome and spreading love where rancid hatred thrives. Green heart emoji. Bruno, hashtag SOTFest 2025, the circus is in town again, I see. Same acts, see-through clowns, yawning emoji. Blue Sky block list. In early 2025, Bruno created a block list on Blue Sky called SOT Trolls, Harassers, Abusers. SOT Trolls / Harassers / Abusers. Moderation list by @he/them.bluesky.social. Feel free to use this purely voluntary list to help keep your timeline clear of toxicity and harassment. Shitposters are tolerated, but please don't turn it serious. DM me with evidence if you feel a name should be added / removed. Thank you, green heart emoji. DearMasterBob.bluesky.social. @DearMasterBob.bluesky.social. SOT Shot Enjoyer, Professional Pirate, Film Visionary Artist of the Seas. Comrade Relics, @ComradeRelics.bluesky.social. Indigenous Digital Artist. She, her, they, Plains Cree / Woodlands Cree, Two Spirited. 25. Proud Rehea. Swabby John, @SwabbyJohn.bluesky.social. Violet's Rose, @Violet'sRose.bluesky.social. Hey, I'm Violence Rose. The N is silent. You can call me Violet, Rose, or Vi. Wody, @Wody.bluesky.social. Love virtual photography. Fuzzy Bond, @FuzzyBond.bluesky.social. Family friendly, content creator, live @FuzzyBond.live. Business, FuzzyBond@gmail.com. Nessie Does, @NessieDoes.bluesky.social. I do a little thieving. Ragsy, @Ragsy.bluesky.social. This list shows what he classifies to be quote-unquote harassers and quote-unquote abusers in the Sea of Thieves community, including Fuzzy, a Sea of Thieves partner, those that called them out on his previous incidents, as well as a fake Nessie Does account. On April 24th, 2026, the list became hidden on Blue Sky, most likely either to ongoing controversy or Blue Sky took it down themselves. List has been hidden. This list, created by he/them.bluesky.social, contains possible violations of Blue Sky's community guidelines in its names or description. Bruno's ties to content managers and notable community members. Free bosun. In order for Bruno to have been able to been made a bosun, considering the overwhelming evidence, it is believed that his ties to other bosuns allow him to sway the vote, and ties to community managers to overrule the bosun's decision, based on their personal beliefs of him, using his fake toxic positivity in order to sweep any previous incidents under the rug. There are very interesting conclusions that can be drawn from this section, but feel free to skip if you wish to keep only to the actual incidents involving Bruno. Note, people hopping on a boat for screenshots only with no sailing during community weekends occur a lot. However, as you will see, there will be numerous instances of people popping up over the numerous dates and with some direct mentions of sailing. When reading this section, feel free to draw your own conclusions about what the many known sails with Bruno mean for his ties with community managers and notable community members. Please do not harass any of the people mentioned in this section in any way. January 2025. Bruno, he/them/testicle, Jotaro. Image description. Displayed as a picture of Bruno with the Sea of Thieves senior community manager, Jotaro. In the background, you can see the Rare sales in the background, which Sea of Thieves community managers employed by Rare have in their inventory. This is a picture from one of Bruno's many sales with Jotaro, which was posted to Bruno's Twitter account on January 6th, 2025. Jotaro is one of the senior community managers in the Sea of Thieves community who handles the management of other community managers, as well as oversees the numerous groups such as Sea of Thieves partners, bosuns, quartermasters, etc. This is also overseen by a couple other community managers. Note, according to other community managers, they are not supposed to sail with members of the community that they do not know outside of Sea of Thieves. Whether this also applies to in-house community managers or senior community managers is unknown. It is likely they have sailed numerous times or have been in contact with one another for a prolonged period of time previous to his nomination to become a bosun. June 2025. Rare Limited is a supporter of the LGBTQ community with the aim to create a safe space for those in the community. In June 2025, they posted a Sea of Thieves news post on the Sea of Thieves website titled All Shall Sail Together Celebrating Pride Month 2025. In this post discussing the history of Pride and the struggles of the LGBTQ plus community, as well as discussion of the Pride Pirates, a newly affiliated community at the time. Most importantly, in this news post, there is a picture of Bruno, he/them, and his friend Murphy Lives, from Blue Sky. This is notable as the only other community picture in this post is from Divand Inc., a Sea of Thieves bosun who became a bosun in February 2024. Image description: the image shows Bruno's pirate doing the heart pose in front of the Progress Pride flag alongside his friend Murph doing an arms crossed pose. There is a description that reads, image credit he/them and Murphy Lives on Blue Sky. The second most important thing was that this post was written by none other than Jotaro, one of the senior community managers. All shall sail together, celebrating Pride Month 2025. LGBTQIA+ inclusive community, the Pride Brigade, share what the Pirate Code and Pride mean to them. Joe Driftwood Clifford, senior community manager, posted in general updates on 30 June 2025. Image description: the image shows text from the top of the news post with a header stating, All shall sail together, celebrating Pride Month 2025. Below this is the tagline, LGBTQIA+ inclusive community, the Pride Brigade, share what the Pirate Code and Pride mean to them. Below this further is the text, Joe Driftwood Clifford, senior community manager. Keep in mind at this point that the pig incident had already happened, and Bruno being made one of the faces of the LGBTQ+ community in Rare's eyes on this news post left a lot of disdain in the Sea of Thieves community. Why would they plaster someone who made an inappropriate joke with a minor on a news post? January 2026. During the Season 18 Community Weekend, Bruno sailed again with Jotaro, his friend Murph, and Beth the Beak, another Sea of Thieves bosun. During this sail, they recorded footage for a YouTube short, Is Your Crew Making Full Use of the Rising Wave emote, published to the official Sea of Thieves YouTube channel as well as other social channels. Image description: YouTube short thumbnail showing 4 pirates with 2 partially obscured off screen. Jotaro is to the left, Bruno is to the middle left, Murph to the middle right, and Beth to the far right. Both sailing known instances with Jotaro took place before Bruno became a bosun, showing that he had sailed with a prominent senior community manager and had been in contact with her before the initial nomination. January 31st. On January 31st, 2026, Bruno posted a plethora of pictures from his community weekend showing that he had sailed with Sea of Thieves bosun Krugels, Fang Stormbringer, Murphy Lives, Shrineke, Sea of Thieves bosun Nuno Azuldimer Meter, and Vipuner, the 16-year-old from the pig incident. Bruno, more hashtag Sea of Thieves community weekend pictures. Heart face emoji featuring at Krugels.bluesky.social, at Fangstormbringer.bluesky.social, at MurphyLives.bluesky.social, at Shinykeys.nl, at SOTPortugal.bluesky.social, at Vipuner.bluesky.social, and several others who aren't on Blue Sky. Green heart emoji, hashtag Sea of Thieves, hashtag Be More Pirate, at SeaofThieves.com. Image description. Shown in the first image is a Blue Sky post by Bruno detailing that he was posting more community weekend pictures. The second, third, fourth, and fifth pictures show him posing with those detailed above, alongside some others who are unnamed. February 2026. On February 25th, 2026, Bruno played with Sea of Thieves bosun the Ninja Blinging Terror, TNBT, hanging out with him and calling him a cool guy. Bruno, green heart emoji, at he/them.bluesky.social. Last night's sale with Ninja featured scaly fleets, a molten sands fort, and a purple guy on Ruby's Fall. Had an amazing time chatting and taking some really good pictures at the end. Really enjoy hanging out with this dude, a genuinely cool guy. Green heart emoji, hashtag Sea of Thieves, at seaofthieves.com. Image description, shown as a Blue Sky post by Bruno talking about his sales with Ninja. There is an attachment showing the two of them with the dice emote held out at what looks to either be a skeleton camp or Port Merrick. March 2026. On March 8, 2026, Bruno sailed again with Ninja, this time with the Ninja Blinging Terrorist, TNBT, friend Wizard coming along. They fished for old boots in the shores of gold, presumably to give to the good boy on K9, as well as raiding an Ashen garrison. Bruno, spending the evening with Ninja and his friend Wizard, raiding an Ashen garrison and fishing for boots in the shores of gold, had a fun old time for an easy Sunday. Green heart emoji. Image description, shown as a Blue Sky post by Bruno talking about his sales with Ninja and Wizard, attached is an image of them posing on the beach of an island with a boat in the background. March 27th. On March 27th, 2026, Bruno had numerous sessions over day 1 of Season 19 Community Weekend, sailing with Senior Community Manager Jotaro, Sea of Thieves Bosun Beth DeBeek, Loki SOT, Murphy Lives, Captain Inoue, and more. Bruno, it has been a smashing hashtag Sea of Thieves Community Weekend so far. So many hats, photo wall pics, and shenanigans with at Murphy Lives, at Loki SOT, at Jotaro, at Beth DeBeek, at Captain Inoue, and more. Let day 2 commence. Green heart emoji. Hashtag Sea of Thieves at seaofthieves.com. Image description. The first image is a Blue Sky post by Bruno talking about his sales with numerous members of the community, which are named above. The second, third, fourth, and fifth pictures are taken from the Blue Sky post itself, showing Bruno posing with said pirates. March 28th. On March 28th, 2026, Bruno sailed and took pictures at the picture wall with Sea of Thieves bosun Nuna Azoldemir, Mutinous Mel, another Sea of Thieves bosun, and Captain Crunch, a miner at the time, to take pictures at the picture wall at an outpost and at Reaper's hideout. Note that these appear to be 2 separate sessions, sailing with Nuno in one and Mel and Crunch in another. Bruno, another day down of hashtag Sea of Thieves Community Weekend yesterday saw at SOTPortugal.bluesky, Nuno Azeldimeter, Mutinous Mel, and Captain Crunch on board for a good gab and more photo wall pics. Always love their company. Thank you. Dawn of the final day, green heart emoji. Image description. The first image is a Blue Sky post by Bruno talking about his sales with numerous members of the community, which are named above. The second and third pictures are taken from the Blue Sky post itself, showing Bruno posing with said pirates. March 30th. March 30th, Bruno played the Sea of Thieves bosun, the Ninja Blinging Terror, and his friend Wizard again. Bruno, Ninja Wizard and I hung out the other night for some Fleets of Fortune, Eternal Guards, Banished Sanctuaries, and annoying a Reaper emissary sloop. Stopped by Plunderers for some pics and called it a night. Had a lot of fun and looking forward to the next one, green heart emoji. Image description, shown as a Blue Sky post by Bruno talking about his sales with Ninja and Wizard. There's an attachment showing the picture of the 3 of them posing for a picture with Ninja on the left, Wizard on the right, and Bruno in the middle. Post Bosun. April 2026. On April 30th, 2026, Bruno played with Sea of Thieves bosun Beth DeBeek, Murphy Lives, and Loki SOT. They sailed together looking for COFs, Reaper chests, and Skulls of the Banished. Bruno spent a glorious night with at Loki SOT, at Beth DeBeek, and at Murphy Lives, sailing for COFs, Reaper chests, and stolen Skulls of the Banished. Had a great time as always. Can't wait for the next one. Green heart emoji. Hashtag Sea of Thieves at seaofthieves.com. Image description shown is a blue sky post by Bruno talking about his sales with the mention above. There's a picture of the four of them posing at the Reaper's hideout, with Bruno in the middle, Murph on the right, Loki to the left, and Beth behind. Bruno becomes bosun, mostly complete. Initial nomination, February 2026. On February 2nd, 2026, right at the very end of Season 18 Community Weekend, Bruno was nominated to become a Sea of Thieves bosun in the bosun hideout found in the Sea of Thieves official Discord server. A few images have surfaced of discussions of the nomination process, which have been shared previously in a document made by ISIMXXX. It is unknown who took these pictures. Beth the Beak. I know he's active on the forums, but I can't say I've looked at what he's saying on there. I could, though, if it becomes relevant to the conversation. Thor von Blitz. Bruno is as helpful and friendly on the forums as he is here/on the seas. Image description. Sea of Thieves bosuns Beth the Beak and Thor von Blitz advocate for Bruno to become a Sea of Thieves bosun, with Thor calling his actions on the forums quote-unquote helpful and quote-unquote friendly. Beth, however, has not seen his posts on the forums. Thomas. I'd be fine with Bruno, though I would expect people to come in trying to bring up old social media dramas once they caught wind. He got the attention of some real nasty voices. Image description. Sea of Thieves bosun and Discord moderator Thomas advocates for Bruno to become a Sea of Thieves bosun, however does mention that past controversies would be brought up when he became a bosun. It is also stated that he got the attention of some quote real nasty voices unquote. Miles. Honestly, I've been kind of avoiding saying anything because I feel like I get weighed out. I will have to say no with both. Sai is very snarky and likes to cause arguments, enough said. As for Bruno, the drama from the past, early on he would ping us constantly because from other people witch hunting him and calling him a PDF. And I'm really not wanting to have to live through that again, let alone have someone who has those types of accusations as a bosun to not stir up any drama than it has. He's super nice and helpful, but I just can't bring myself to say yes to more drama that it might cause. Shira, Mop. While I completely understand the wish to not have to deal with things like this, Lord knows it takes a toll on us, I'm not quite sure that we should let bullies dictate which way we go. As for any opinions on one or the other, I have them, but I'm not going to weigh in on the actual decision this time. Image description. Sea of Thieves bosun and Discord moderator Miles from Tomorrowland said no to both Bruno and Sai, to become a Sea of Thieves bosun, wishing for no further drama to be stirred up. He calls Bruno super nice and helpful, however does not wish to bring more drama to the Sea of Thieves community. Sea of Thieves moderator and community manager Shira, mop-wielding hedgehog, called people that brought up the drama quote-unquote bullies. Note, although not shown here, it is believed she voted for Bruno to be a bosun. The usage of quote-unquote bullies here also implies that people were doing something wrong by bringing up how controversial Bruno was as a member of the community, even before being nominated as a bosun. Able Pirate, off the top of my head, he's had incidents with Snowy, as well as Baruka, and some others which has been on and off for a little while. Although I don't know if they've made up after or anything, but those are the immediate ones that come to mind. But he's had some issues with me. Beth the Beak. That's what I'm hoping to figure out. As I said earlier, I personally have had nothing but positive experiences with him, but I do want the good and the bad things brought to light here. We all grow and learn as people, and I'm hoping that this is things well in the past, but I don't know for certain. Able Pirate. A good example would be this. My server nickname at the time was Server Cable Eater. 2 linked images. As someone who has had only a negative experience from him and definitely had very negative views towards him at this time from my own personal experience, this was not something I enjoyed encountering. But it entirely depends on the angle you see that conversation from an outsider's perspective. I can understand if you've only had a positive experience, then it might seem different to the negative experience I had, which makes it seem awful. Beth the Beak, let me read through this. Able Pirate, keep in mind the quote-unquote joke with Lenter and I was that I was eating the server cables. Able Pirate, image forwarded from the tavern. This is where the issue was with Snowy, I think, although I believe it ended up with some issues in DMs, but I don't know what happened past that in the weeks and months after. Jotaro, I think it is important, as Badger and Lotus has said, to consider that the Bodhi role is, quote, are they helpful and friendly, unquote. If the answer is yes, then they are a good fit. This is not a moderation role where you are going to be NDA'd, but a role of, quote, do they represent the best of our players, unquote. People can learn and grow, and I think that it should be also be considered, but I will not sway a decision either way, as this is why it comes to the Bodhies. Do you think these people can wear the title in a way that makes you all feel proud? Also, as mentioned, feel free to lob other candidates here. Image description, Sea of Thieves bosun Able Pirate brings up Discord incidents involving Bruno, with Beth noting that she has had nothing but a positive experience with Bruno. It is unsure what links he was directing to exactly. Jotaro mentions that she will not sway a decision either way. Dre, Scholar of Souls, I was at work at the time. Overall, I don't feel very comfortable with Bruno being a bosun. They've created false narratives behind people's backs and don't action on any actual issues brought up to him. Not particularly sure what the role of bosun is if it's just being helpful. We should be more representative too. Maybe. Who knows? I'm very quiet like 90% of the time anyway. Image description. Drake comes in much later and disagrees that Bruno should become a bosun, bringing up that Bruno creates false narratives behind people's backs and doesn't take action on any issues brought to him. Thomas. Yeah, I've had no real issue with them pinging us for that stuff, mainly if someone's being super persistent. It's brought up with no real basis or evidence behind it, so it's fairly easy to shut down, though it's rarely something that comes up anymore. Image description, Sea of Thieves bosun, TNBT, the Ninja Blinging Terror, says that if he was accused of the same things that Bruno was, he would also ping the moderation team countless times to make it stop. Note, TNBT's role is green because of a special Megalodon Hunter role. Other than that, this green role color, they are a regular bosun. Sea of Thieves bosun and moderator Thomas said that he has no real issue with Bruno pinging the moderation team for that stuff, only if it's super persistent. He also mentions that it is brought up with, quote, no real basis or evidence, unquote, so it is fairly easy to shut down. However, at this time, it was not something that regularly came up anymore. Note, the tavern is the most common place this discussion was brought up, does not have embed perms for non-moderators. Moderators also shut down any discussion of the issues beforehand, meaning it was and still is impossible for anyone to have presented any, quote, basis or evidence, unquote, without going directly into a moderator or community manager's direct messages, where it is likely they would have been directed to support, who would send it back in turn to community managers. Outcome of nomination, April 2026. After voting took place, the Sea of Thieves bosuns ultimately voted against making Bruno a bosun. It was mentioned by Jotaro that this would be revisited in 6 months. However, just over 2 months later, April 9th, 2026, Bruno was made a bosun alongside Sayuta, meaning that a community manager overrode the bosun's decisions to vote against Bruno becoming a bosun. It is unknown who exactly overrode this, although the current evidence points to Jotaro. This was met with outcry by Wody and Artist of Thieves a day later, April 10th, on Twitter, bringing up the evidence once more that was known publicly prior to Bruno's nomination, alongside mentioning Bruno's Blue Sky block list. Post-bosun incidents and initial callout after April 2026. As you have already seen, there have been a plethora of incidents already implicating Bruno in a lot of weird, creepy actions since before he became a bosun, and he has significant ties to community managers and important members of the community. However, although community managers believed he had changed from their interactions with him, it could not be further from the truth, as can be seen with the incidents that have taken place after he became a bosun. Theb, quote, plays with cheaters, unquote, incident, May 6th, 2026. In the Sea of Thieves official Discord server on May 6th, 2026, Bruno responded to a conversation in the Tavern channel with a now deleted message accusing Theb of playing with cheaters. Mop-wielding hedgehog, that's not the whole reason, just part of it. Mr. Turtle, 10682 ally. Doesn't he delete more cheaters than the anti-cheat Rare provided? Bot. Bruno, plays with cheaters. Although witch hunting is against the rules of the Sea of Thieves official Discord server, this message was allowed to stay up until it was deleted a few days later. Harass, witch hunt, or abuse of other community members. When this conversation was discovered by Simics, they posted it to X, Twitter, tagging Thebsot. JC the Lungman, at Simics. Man, I can't believe at Thebsot plays with cheaters, broken heart emoji. The silly bosun man said it, so it must be true. An hour later, Thebsot quote retweeted this post with the text, "Why are official Sea of Thieves bosuns, Discord mods, slandering my good name? Hashtag Sea of Thieves." Theb at Thebsot, "Why are official Sea of Thieves bosuns, Discord mods, slandering my good name? Hashtag Sea of Thieves." Note, Sea of Thieves bosuns are not Discord mods. It is essentially a promotional title given out to those that they deem quote-unquote good in the community. Nessie Does, a friend of Theb who plays with him frequently, after seeing this post and Bruno's message, went into the tavern to ask Bruno about what cheaters Theb played with. Response and mod responses. Bruno's response. After making the post on X, Twitter, iSimix was contacted by Bruno via Discord direct messages later in the day, where Bruno sent an eye-rolling emoji alongside a screenshot of his post. Immediately after this, he blocked Simics, meaning that he could send no response. Bruno, eye rolls emoji, screenshot, JC, I've done nothing wrong here. A day or two later, roughly around May 7th, Badger deleted Bruno's plays with cheaters message from the tavern. Official Discord. After Thebsot's and Simix's post, numerous people headed to the tavern in the Sea of Thieves official Discord in order to press Bruno about his claims. Yes, he does. He plays with me, Sponge, and Crud only, so which of one of us are you calling a cheater? Mop-wielding hedgehog. It's possible it stems from the era of him using FOV cheat, which of course was argued to, quote, not really be cheating, unquote, by those who used it. Name is Rain. Bruno very clearly said he plays with cheaters, which is an open accusation. It's a fair question. Not any ambiguity there about what is meant. Whoa, Nutty. Wait, that's cheating? Yes, he does. He said he plays with cheaters? Mop-wielding hedgehog. It was. Still is if you go over 110. Yes, he does. Plays is present tense, and he plays with 3 people, so I was asking the bosun which one of the 3 he says is cheating. Mop-wielding hedgehog. Yeah, no, he does not currently play with cheaters. A thought here. Oof. Mop-wielding hedgehog. Whether he has in the past, I have no clue. Although not involved in the situation, Shira X, Mop-wielding hedgehog, stepped in to try and explain Bruno's message, although states that, quote, he, Theb, does not currently play with cheaters, unquote. She says that, quote, it's possible it stems from the era of him using FOV cheat, unquote. However, Bruno says, quote, plays with cheaters, unquote. Nessie responded to Shira's message, explaining as such, wondering who was being accused of cheating by Bruno. Nessie does, in response to @Mop-wielding hedgehog, he won't respond because his claim was untrue. Nessie does. Yeah, cool, but Bruno said he does, so I'm curious to know which of the 3 of us he was accusing. A thought here. Oh, Bruno said it? Name is Rain. Kinda rude to go spreading an unsubstantiated allegation like that. Shira responded again, saying that he would have to wait a few hours for a response from Bruno. Nessie states that he thinks Bruno wouldn't respond because his claim is untrue. Mop-wielding hedgehog, in response to @Nessie does, I'm not really comfortable discussing his intentions when he's not here to clarify them. Not saying he wasn't mistaken or that he was. Saying I don't know and he's not here to speak for himself, so I'd let it rest until he is. Shira responds further, saying that she's not comfortable discussing Bruno's intentions whilst he is not present, although she has just done so. Mop-wielding hedgehog, in response to @Nessie does, no, that was me gently asking you to drop it until he's here to speak for himself. Nessie responded by saying, I didn't ask you to speak for him, Bruno. And Shira responded by saying that he was, quote, gently asking you, Nessie, to drop it. Name is Rain. Well, wouldn't arbitrarily accusing someone who plays with partners of playing with cheaters be witch hunting? Nessie does. This. JC. True. Unlicensed Dragon. Definitely a flavor of needless drama to me. Granted, I didn't see it start, so kinda lost. Mop-wielding Hedgehog. Two wrongs doesn't make a right. And again, we're not sure of intention here. Discord users Name is Rain and JC Simics then stated that the message that Bruno sent would in fact be witch hunting, which would be against the server rules. Shira says that, quote, we're not sure of intention here, unquote, meaning that would not be taken down. Note, quite a few statements relating to the Bruno incidents, as well as other incidents in the past with other members of the community, were classified as quote-unquote witch hunting and removed quickly in the official Sea of Thieves Discord server, as seen in the messages written by Shira and Miles when he was nominated to become a bosun in the, quote, Bruno becomes a bosun, unquote, section of this document. JC, in response to Mop-wielding Hedgehog, I mean, it's a 3-word message. It's kind of hard to interpret it that in many ways. Name is Rain, in response to Mop-wielding Hedgehog. What ambiguity is there in the statement? Quote, he plays with cheaters, unquote. JC, this. Name is Rain. There's literally no room for confusion of intent. JC and Name is Rain respond to Shira, saying that a 3-word message, plays with cheaters, is hard to interpret in many ways. They agree with one another that there is no room for confusion of intent in the message Bruno sent. Mop-wielding Hedgehog, I can't go deeper into this subject for so many reasons. Shira responded, saying that she can't go deeper into the subject for, quote, so many reasons, unquote. Name is Rain in response to Mop-wielding Hedgehog. The intent is inescapably clear. Alfad here. Bingo! Mop-wielding Hedgehog in response to Name is Rain. It's not. Could have been meant to be past tense. Name is Rain. Then it should have been written in past tense. Alfad here would say played with cheaters at that point, though. Yes, he does in response to Mop-wielding Hedgehog. The word would have been played in that case. Shira said that she is asking people to wait for, quote, clarity of intent, unquote, whilst Rain, Alfadhir, and Nessie believe that the intent was obviously clear. Rain says that if it was meant to be in the past tense, it should have been written in the past tense. Whoa Nutty in response to Mop-wielding Hedgehog. Then why didn't you just say that instead of, quote, I can't go deeper into the subject for so many reasons, unquote, you're allowing members to talk crap about other members for what purpose? The only thing it's going to cause you is backlash and more drama, causing the members to be furious and others are going to want more of an explanation, Mop-wielding Hedgehog in response to Whoa Nutty, because depending on tense, he's not necessarily wrong. Now, let's move it along. Whoa Nutty states that, quote, you're allowing members to talk crap about other members for what purpose, unquote, which is in fact against the server rules to do so. They assert that, quote, the only thing it's going to cause you is backlash and more drama, unquote, which is in fact true. Although previously saying acknowledging that Theb does not play with cheaters, Shira here says that because depending on the tense, he's not necessarily wrong, unquote, there is no evidence to suggest that Theb has previously played with cheaters either. Yes, he does in response to Mop-wielding Hedgehog. Quote, because depending on tense, he's not necessarily wrong, unquote, now I am talking to you because you also have implied that he played with cheaters. Is that an assumption or a fact you know? Because if he did play with cheaters, that is someone I don't want to play with. Whoa Nutty in response to Mop-wielding Hedgehog. You can't expect people to move on without an explanation, Mop. You might not be the person who accused, but you simply just told us members, quote, we were wrong, unquote. Shira went on to say that they were debating two people who aren't there to speak for themselves, so asked him to move on from the conversation. Nessie says that he is now directly talking to Shira, who she implied that Theb played with cheaters. He asked if this was an assumption or a fact, and that if he did play with cheaters, he would not want to play with Theb. Whoa Nutty says that Shira can't expect people to move on without an explanation of what she said. Nessie does in response to Mop-wielding Hedgehog. You were not invited to this conversation, but have inserted yourself and have now claimed that someone played with cheaters in the past. JC in response to Mop Wielding Hedgehog. Bruno shouldn't have made such a claim for starters, shrugs emoji. Shira asked Nessie if this was a conversation that they should be having. Nessie says that they were not invited to the conversation, but Shira inserted herself and claimed that Theb played with cheaters in the past. JC, Simics, says that Bruno shouldn't have made the claim to begin with. Nessie does in response to Mop Wielding Hedgehog. So, 1, he wasn't talking past tense because he didn't use that language. And 2, you said if he meant something which he didn't say, he wasn't wrong, meaning person played with cheaters. So I asked, do you know for a fact he did that? Nessie does this. They continue discussing whether or not the tense is important or not. Nessie asked again for proof that Theb played with cheaters. Mop Wielding Hedgehog in response to Nessie does. Tell you what, you're a friend of his. If you're concerned, just go ask him if he ever played with anyone who used FOV cheats or any other cheat of any sort. Nessie does in response to Mop Wielding Hedgehog. Oh, never mind, you said you don't know. So I don't know why you are saying Bruno isn't wrong if he meant past tense. Shira said that Nessie should just DM Theb to ask him if he's ever played with anyone who used FOV cheats. Nessie replied to Shira's posts saying that she, quote, has no clue, unquote, if Theb has played with cheaters in the past, saying that he is unsure why she is saying Bruno isn't wrong if he meant the past tense. Mop Wielding Hedgehog, it can't be my fault. I'm okay with that, as long as we finally move on. Nessie does. Starts argument, then, quote, let's move on, unquote. GG, good night team. Bruno, don't call people cheaters with no evidence. Alien emoji. Shira said that it could be her fault, and Nessie points out that Shira started the argument and then said to move on. Nessie then tells Bruno not to call people cheaters with no evidence. Erotsune. Let's be honest, he made one offhand comment. Your group has been harassing him for the past few days since let's not cherry pick whose side is more right in this. Now, and for the last time, move it along. If you're just here to stir up drama, we don't need your welcome to see your way back out again now. No, it wasn't deleted because of the content, not because of who it was set against. But finally, I've removed the comment above and will remind that we do have a rule about witch hunting and that it's not allowed. The information has been passed to those that it matters to, and it will be sorted at that level. Move it along. I won't be repeating myself further on that. A now deleted conversation, except for Erotsune's portion, 2 days later after the original argument, Erotsune, Badger, a Sea of Thieves moderator and community manager, asked someone to move it along after asking about Bruno's message where he said that Theb, quote, plays with cheaters, unquote. Badger's fourth message at 1:19 confirms that he deleted Bruno's message as they have a rule about witch hunting and that sort of thing is not allowed. This message was allowed to stay up when Shira, another community manager, was arguing with Nessie about it 2 days prior. Simix's Google document, May 6th, May 7th, 2026. After the Plays with Cheaters controversy, JC, Simix, messaged community manager Kenji Salk to ask about making an inquiry into Bruno/he/them. Kenji Salk said that if he would like to compile any evidence, he could do so and send it to CM's end support, to which he did over the 7th of May. JC, I'd like to make a genuine inquiry into Bruno's status as a bosun being reviewed. I'm done with speaking in tavern for now, but it is abundantly clear that something needs to be done. You have partners and many members of this community who have all expressed lots of concern about Bruno and his actions recently. Kenji Salk, I see that, but we also have lots of people dogpiling someone currently over a statement that, as far as I know, was not entirely incorrect. And needless to say, the entire team is very aware of this current issue, which has been being argued about for nearly the last 24 hours now. JC, not entirely incorrect, it is entirely incorrect, Kenji. That is what the issue is, but even then, that statement is just the latest in this saga. I'm fairly confident the team are also aware of Bruno's alleged inappropriate behavior with minors, which became a talking point back when he first became bosun. I'm also fairly sure that you guys are aware of his quote-unquote moderation list of people he has personal problems with that he decides to push as a means for people to use as a blocking list to, quote, clear their feed of toxicity, unquote. Nothing about pushing for people you personally dislike to be silently removed from the community, screams Bosun. Bosun, as I and many people understand it, is meant to be a title that indicates who a figurehead is in the community, a person who anyone can reach out to for help and expect friendly communication with, a person who the community can look up to. I don't know about you, but most people certainly would not look up to someone with as much controversy and hate as Bruno. When you have official Sea of Thieves partners, the most public members of your community, going as far as to express concern about this, do you not think that should be taken more seriously? Kenji Sulk. Of course, things need to be looked at when the issue comes up, but we also can't normalize witch hunting and bullying in the server. Again, the team has their eyes on both this and the partners. If you would like to highlight any specific comments or videos made by partners, though, you can send them either to me/other CMs or to support. JC, the only stuff I can see as witch hunting/bullying are the snark comments a few random people made in Tavern, which I agree were pretty inappropriate. However, for the most part, the points raised by Nessie, a few others, and myself are all valid points. I will compile specific comments and evidence and send them to you/support later on. Thank you for your time. After compiling the document, he sent it to the community managers, to which he received no response or acknowledgement of receiving the document. After waiting until around lunchtime on the 8th of May, in his time zone, he publicly posted the document onto Twitter, X. The document can be found here, regarding Bruno and their misconduct within the Sea of Thieves community, which was previously covered on this channel. The document brought a number of incidents and allegations to light which are allegedly mentioned in this document. Newly brought up incidents such as Bruno allegedly playing with a cheater in December 2023, as well as the, quote, plays with cheaters incident, unquote. The response and initial CM/mod responses. After posting the document to X, Twitter, the initial response was that of disdain and disgust. Sea of Thieves moderator, Miles from Tomorrowland, Godoska, responded directly to the tweet on X, Twitter, saying that, quote, this is exactly what I didn't want to happen, unquote. Posts on Reddit, May 11th, 2026. On May 11th, the posts were made to the unofficial Sea of Thieves Reddit highlighting Bruno's behavior. The original post has a sticky comment with a large majority of the information about the situation included. This led to further backlash in the official Discord, with many users being timed out or muted. Due to issues with the previous recording, we'll be continuing from here on out using the Google document. Elemental, role muted added on Sea of Thieves. Reason, having already been told to take this elsewhere and repeatedly refusing. Elemental, you have been warned on Sea of Thieves. Reason, posting game media that contains multiple uses of language that will be caught by the bot if typed. Elemental, you have been temporarily timed out on Sea of Thieves until 14th May 2026 at 3:24 p.m. in 2 days. Reason, you have been warned many times within the past day alone that continued discussion and bringing of drama is not permitted. Elemental, you have been temporarily timed out in Sea of Thieves until May 14th, 2026, 7:28 a.m. in 2 days. Reason, user only shows up to stir drama and disregards staff instruction to keep it out. Elemental, you have been temporarily timed out in Sea of Thieves until 15th May 2026 at 2:17 a.m. in 3 days. Reason, making accusations against many bosun is witch hunting and is not allowed within this space. Elemental, you've been warned on Sea of Thieves. Reason, please refrain from creepy comments and or keep your language use appropriate. Elemental, role muted, add on Sea of Thieves. Reason, needs to rein it in, becomes aggressive in attitude. Elemental, role muted, added on Sea of Thieves. Reason, long and continued string of activity designed to bait and cause unrest despite previous interactions. A random 54, Reddit link. Oh boy. Reddit link. Oh boy, so what's the deal with this one? I like how community concern is actively censored here. Maybe instead of doing that, remove the concern instead of privately warning me? This is a serious issue and it needs an actual addressing rather than censorship. Don't pull an Arrowhead. Chris, leaving this Discord because @Bruno is a pedo weirdo and this server seems to be okay with that, so peace. Peace emoji. Bo de Menace, PSN. Yo, looking for players to play with. I'm in PS5 Lil Bo de Menace. I have experience. JV. All the mods deleting every message exposing Bruno is crazy. And deleted. Grooming allegations, May 12th, 2026 and May 14th, 2026. The following day, a document was published to X, Twitter, by the real guy Vic, outlining an anonymous 15-year-old's experience with Bruno, where they had been manipulated into sharing explicit material for several months. This document is linked below. Read at your own risk. This document contains horrific sexual images and messages between a minor and an adult. My experience with Bruno.docx, which was covered in the previous video. On May 13th, further allegations came out regarding Bruno grooming a minor, being posted by Mutinous Mel on behalf of Captain Crunch. Mel the Servant's Flame, at Mutinous Mel. A friend has come to me about another victim of Bruno's. The victim, Captain Crunch, not on Twitter, has asked that this information be spread that way it can get to the correct people. Please, if you are a victim, talk to somebody you can trust, let somebody know. Hashtag Save Thieves. Captain Crunch. Hello, everyone. I've been spread around Twitter recently and have actively been called a, quote, pedo supporter, unquote, in my DMs. I'm here to say that none of this is true, and I do truly hate his actions. I don't support him in the slightest and have cut him off completely due to these actions. I've removed him from my server and blocked him. In terms of my actions, I was very pissed off at the time and was very rash. I apologize for those actions. I did have sexual interactions with Bruno when I was underage because I was an idiot teenager in search of love. I have reported his actions to authorities. I hope y'all understand this misunderstanding. Amethyst. Philipster situation. In April 2025, there was already a situation involving one of Bruno's friends who displayed sexual abuse and grooming behavior. Bruno's Twitter is now deleted, so the response he gave at the time cannot be found. However, there is a post from Weremux with an image containing some of the statement alongside Weremux's own response. Another response has been found to the situation at the time from What a Pleb. New anonymous evidence. There is new evidence of a victim being groomed, however it is slightly disturbing. Please look at the following Immigrant album at your own risk. x.com/crudmastertv. Community manager / mod responses. Before the release of the victim's document and Bruno's subsequent removal from Sea of Thieves, Drew Stevens, the production director of Sea of Thieves, liked a post with the gif, "We don't talk about Bruno," left as a reply under one of his posts. Drew Stevens liked your reply. Bruno was banned from Sea of Thieves and either left or was banned from the Sea of Thieves official Discord within half an hour of this document releasing. He/them banned, joined 7 years ago, last online 3 hours ago. Bruno deleted his Blue Sky and Instagram accounts, however his Twitter is still up. He was also banned from numerous other servers, such as the Finals. Soon after, the Sea of Thieves official Discord was flooded with a range of comments calling the community managers out for allowing the situation to occur, and channel slow mode was increased to 30 minutes in every channel. Around an hour later, this was changed to a 6-hour slow mode in every channel. Alongside this, an announcement was posted in the #announcements channel by Christina, the head community manager. However, there was no ping for this announcement, nor was it published to servers following the announcements channel. Christina, hi all, we need to keep this server compliant with our rules, so while our predominantly EU-based team takes some time to rest, we are slowing this server right down. However, I want to be clear, we are investigating and escalating all reports with the appropriate urgency, and, as has been our policy, we are unable to comment on individual reports or incidents publicly. Christina. Christina pinned a message. This post was pinned to the announcements channel, as well as forwarded to the tavern and pinned there by Valkyrie, another community manager. The YouTube short showcasing Bruno was also deleted off the official YouTube channel. Sea of Thieves fast response. Calamity Kez, at everyone. Recent information has come to light regarding a member of the Sea of Thieves community. The details are deeply concerning to us. The well-being and safety of our community matters the most. With that in mind, we, the captains of the Sea of Thieves Fest crew, have removed this person from our Discord server and removed their ticket for our event. We are committed to ensuring everyone feels safe, welcome, and respected at our event and within our community. Community outcry and response. A large majority of Sea of Thieves official Discord users took to the majority of Discord channels to send complaints about the handling of the situation and how the community management team had handled the situation. The large majority of these messages are still up, however, some of them have been deleted. As of writing, the Discord has been largely unmoderated after the fallout, with many recent messages remaining up. Nessie Does, a Sea of Thieves partner, stepped down from their role, calling the situation quote-unquote disgusting, and said that he may reapply if community manager Jotaro was fired. Nessie Does, at Nessie Does, stepping down from at Sea of Thieves partner, fire at Jotaro, and I might reapply. Disgusting. May 13th, 2026. Ozurian asked for their Hat of Unfeasibly Glorious Fame, Blue Hat, to be removed from their in-game account, as they do not want to be associated with the Sea of Thieves brand. Ozurian at Ozurian Art. Hello at Sea of Thieves. I'd like to request the removal of my name from the game website, as long as the removal of the Hat of Unfeasibly Glorious Fame from my in-game account. I wish not be associated with the brand after the recent events, May 13th, 2026. Jason X also asked for their Hat of Unfeasibly Glorious Fame to be removed. Jason X at Jason X. As happy as I was and as grateful as I am to my friends that nominated me to get the Hat of Unfeasibly Glorious Fame, I too second this and want the hat from my in-game account. I can no longer stand to be bunched with Bruno, one out of question mark. May 13th, 2026. Mutinous Mel, a Sea of Thieves bosun, said that they felt, quote, absolutely sick, unquote, and that you try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but then, quote, this happened, unquote. Mel the Servant's Flame, at Mutinous Mel, I feel absolutely sick right now. You try to give people the benefit of the doubt, try to see both sides, then this. Able Pirate, another Sea of Thieves ex-bosun, asked for their bosun to be removed. Note, bosun has not been removed from his account yet. Able Pirate, at Able Pirate. Yo, can I have this removed, please? I don't want to associate with Sea of Thieves anymore. Hashtag Sea of Thieves. Able Pirate, Captain, still is a bosun. Captain MacGuffin, a Sea of Thieves bosun, said that they, quote, hated humanity at this point, unquote, and called Bruno's actions, quote, completely disgusting, unquote. Captain MacGuffin, I hate humanity at this point, completely disgusting. May 12th, 2026. Brugels, a Sea of Thieves ex-bosun, mentioned that he removed his bosun out of quote-unquote disgust of what the role had become. He no longer wishes to be affiliated with any of this quote-unquote garbage and can see that the whole thing is quote-unquote rotten. Brugels, at the Crew of Fools, as of 5/8/2026, I had requested to be removed as a bosun out of disgust of what the role had become. I stepped down since I don't wish to be affiliated with any of this garbage. I used to support Sea of Thieves and Rare, but over the past 2 years, I can see that the whole thing is rotten. Rugel's Marauder. Coop, an ex-Sea of Thieves partner, said, quote, I told you behind the scenes was more toxic than you would ever know, unquote. Coop, at Coop. Haven't I been saying this shit for years? I told you behind the scenes was more toxic than you would ever know. Toxie Sinclair, a Sea of Thieves partner, posted a tweet saying that her heart goes out to the victims and that the victims should be supported as well as not to ask about her thoughts on it farther due to the subject matter being too hard for them to handle. Toxie Sinclair, at Toxic Sinclair. What happened is awful and my heart goes out to the victims. I hope they are able to find peace from this nightmare. The subject matter is too much for me to handle, and I'd like to not be asked about my thoughts on it any further. Support the victims. Be Poor, the then 16-year-old, who was involved in the pig incident, also released a statement apologizing for defending such a foul person. Be Poor, I don't know what to even say. I'm so sorry for defending such a foul person. May 13th, 2026. Damn it, Belle, Bruno's ex-girlfriend, posted a statement on Blue Sky saying that they feel, quote, fucking sick, unquote, for dating a, quote, full-fledged predator, unquote, in the past. Damn it, Belle, at dammitbelle.bluesky.social. Feeling a strange kind of guilt and anger in finding out that someone I dated is a full-fledged predator and not just a dumbass with awful judgment like I far too generously assumed. I feel fucking sick. My heart goes out to the victim. I hope you can heal and find justice. Sea of Thieves data miner r_SOT leaks on May 12th posted hashtag fire Jotaro on X, Twitter, which was reposted 31 times as of writing. R_SOT leaks, hashtag fire Jotaro. Crud put out a second Crud rant on the topic, detailing this document as well as some further responses. A collection of Bruno's problematic statements. Bruno has since deactivated his social media accounts, except X, Twitter, but these are a few screenshots of some of his problematic statements and photos. Always, Bruno, image, Bruno, don't dwell on earlier if it's still on your mind, BTW. It's all good, smiley face emoji. Bruno, I understand, greed heart emoji. Bruno, hee hee, happy trans visibility day, trans heart emoji. Bruno, of course I love my trans siblings. They're all sexy and cute too, hee hee hee. I'd be okay with that, green heart emoji. Sailing with you, I mean. Bruno, I understand that. You seem nice enough, so I'm happy to try out a sail. I just don't tend to sail nowadays with people I'm not already friendly with. Up carrot, up carrot. Anon, don't worry, I understand. I also have that trust issue as well. Sometimes we gotta know the person better before we start interacting. Bruno, yeah, exactly. Bruno, at he/them.bluesky.social. As we celebrate Guy Fawkes Night here in the UK, let us remember that Guy Fawkes was 100% right in trying to blow up Parliament, and it's a wee shame he didn't succeed. Bruno, at he/them, I confidently opened Blue Sky in public because of the porn. You looking at my phone? You deserve to see girl cock. Not sorry. In response to Jeffrey Femboycott, at RD.gay, I can't open Blue Sky in public without showing strangers a ton of porn. Bruno, at he/them, everywhere I go, I'm reminded of her, eyes emoji, inflatable dildo. Bruno, at he/them, the gilded cuck chair will be mine, ... giggling emoji. Bruno, green heart, why are you all so fucking hot? Bruno, I'm still here, slightly judging, jerking. Bruno, when I come, I give Jesus a wink. X. Bruno, 100th post, yay, now to continue to like posts of girl dick, hot butts from boys, and shit posts. I love this place. Dog Girl Jesus, at Dog Girl Jesus, reskeet with a hot photo of yourself for whatever reason you want, purple heart emoji. Junie, reskeet with a hot photo of yourself to rebalance the universe by countering the influx of Rudy Giuliani mugshots. Bruno, I used to be convinced I was gay, but I'm glad that got beat the shit out of me once I discovered hot girls too. Eyes wide emoji. Bruno, just released, I haven't come in nearly a week. WTF. Bruno, no, but this. I am a strong believer in true friends should know you inside and out. Makes nothing awkward. And you can literally tell them anything, because let's face it, you've witnessed them come. Allo Theta Delta trans flag at Hawaii. Fuck your friends. Bruno, the kids yelling no, no after this bit gives me joy. Kek emoji. Bruno, I've been told trans people have this power too when they talk to femboys. Kek emoji. Bruno, you're right though. Trans better than everything. I don't even know what that emoji is. Bruno, they're young. They won't remember. Strike through, hopefully. Bruno, to be young and naive. Conclusion. Bruno, aka he/them, is someone who should never have been given the position he was in the Sea of Thieves community to begin with, and as a result may have led to harmful interactions due to the status he was given, which led people to trust him. Even though many incidents had occurred prior to him becoming a bosun, these were brushed aside by community managers, ignoring the bosun's decision to vote against him and made him one anyway. As a result, there has been a significant backlash against the community management and moderators of Sea of Thieves for allowing Bruno to be put in the position he was to begin with, and for having numerous ties with him as well as his plastering on the Sea of Thieves socials. I fully hope that the victims, both those that spoke out and those that decided not to will be able to get the help and support they deserve from the community, Rare, people they know in real life, and the authorities, and that a police investigation can be started against Bruno so that he can get punishment that he deserves. A message to the community managers and Rare. As a result of ignorance of previous incidents and situations regarding Bruno, as well as his over-sexual messages on his social media as seen above, and ties to Rare employees and community managers, allowed Bruno to be elevated to a position that he should not have been to begin with. The fact that a single individual was given so much trust, even though would have otherwise been disallowed by Rare's policies, I hope that the community managers will have sufficient training in how to spot this in the future and no longer associate and make very good friends with people inside the community itself, as this all it can lead to. Managing a community and personal friend groups should not overlap, nor should they directly interact with one another if possible. Silencing people for speaking out about Bruno over the 3 years we know this has been ongoing for, as well as releasing a statement only on one social platform with no ping that would notify the majority of the community about the statement in question, has not helped at all and makes things look worse. The fact that it took 4 days for action to be taken against Bruno, even though a document had already been released, alongside numerous issues in the past, needs to be investigated to ensure that this does not happen in the future and that swift action can be taken if this happens again. The fact that this is not the first time this has happened in the Sea of Thieves community, and yet we are met with the same silence each time it happens, has seriously damaged all community goodwill that was left after months of poorly delivered updates. There are always still numerous creeps and weirdos in communities, which is an unfortunate fact. Rare as a company needs to learn from this and review their community management team so that they can learn how to spot predatory behavior like this. I hope for the people that wish to remain playing Sea of Thieves that you will do better in the future. This situation should not have happened to begin with, and he should not have been put in the position that he was, considering the evidence even before his nomination. And that was the Bruno Files, as read by Mac with some cheese.